Hello and welcome to our lesson today. In this lesson, we will explore two contrasting approaches to strategy development and procurement: strategic planning and emergent strategies. We will begin by examining the benefits and drawbacks of strategic planning, as well as the 5 main steps involved in a strategic planning cycle. Additionally, we will delve into the significance of emergent strategies and its role in a successful execution of a procurement strategy. Finally, we will explore how these two approaches can be combined to enhance the overall effectiveness of your procurement strategy. Let's start by taking a closer look at strategic planning. When analyzing the strategic planning process of any procurement organization, it becomes apparent that it's inherently incomplete. Strategic planning assumes that the complexities of procurement management can be broken down into a fully articulated strategic plan, including both formulation and implementation. However, the reality of procurement operations is much more intricate and dynamic, making it challenging to achieve perfect execution. It is during the implementation phase that gaps are identified and strategies are adapted in response to unforeseen circumstances. Now, take a moment to reflect on a recent procurement project you have managed. Consider your initial plan, what actually transpired during implementation, and the lessons you learned from that experience. During your reflection, you may have recalled instances where comprehensive project plans fell short during the implementation phase. Strategic planning often overlooks the inevitable complexities and challenges that arise during implementation. To bridge the gap between formulation and implementation, strategic planning integrates operational planning systems which help organize teams around goals and tasks, performance management, mechanisms to measure success, and resource allocation planning to optimize the utilization of available resources. Now, let's proceed by delving deeper into the concept of strategic planning before connecting it with implementation. Let's talk about the value of strategic planning in procurement. In procurement, just like in any other organizational function, internal and external analysis plays a crucial role in the strategic process. It helps us gain insights into strategic issues and allows us to identify, categorize, and understand the key factors that influence strategic decisions. Strategic planning, as a methodological and analytical approach, brings several significant benefits to procurement organizations. To better appreciate the advantages of effective strategic planning, let's consider your procurement organization. The following statements are listed on the slide in front of you. Pause for a moment, think about your organization, and rate each statement on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is being the lowest and 5 is being the highest. My organization has a clear direction and all employees understand our vision. Our strategy provides us with a shared organizational language, including terminology and goals, that facilitates cross-functional understanding. We consistently communicate the strategy and its rationale across all the levels of the organization. Our strategy serves as an educational tool, fostering interaction and dialogue at all levels while developing employees' capabilities. Our strategy assists our managers in motivating their teams, measuring performance, and allocating resources. The segmentation of our strategy enables us to assign roles, responsibilities, and tasks effectively. Our strategy helps us understand the distinct strategic focuses of the procurement function, such as corporate-wide, individual businesses, and functional business perspective. Our strategy encourages long-term thinking, allowing us to allocate sufficient time to strategic activities amid operational demands. Where does your procurement organization have room for improvement? Where does it score highly? Please share your thoughts in the comment sections below and take a look at your peers' comments as well. How does your organization compare to others in similar industries or within the same country? Most large companies have a structured strategic planning process that results in a board-endorsed document outlining the plan for the next 3 to 5 years. While strategic planning often follows a calendar-driven approach, it can also be program-driven, allowing for the initiation of programs at any time throughout the year. While strategic planning is a continuous process that varies between organizations, there are a few consistent steps that remain stable in each planning cycle within procurement. 1. Setting the context, guidelines, forecasts and assumptions. In procurement, top management initiates this step by indicating strategic priorities, which are influenced by performance reviews. As a procurement professional, you will be required to provide an overview of your procurement operating model. Additionally, based on inputs from various stakeholders, top management may provide assumptions for forecasts related to planning procurement activities, such as projected spend or market trends, which serve as a common basis for planning across different procurement units. Individual procurement plans, different procurement units, such as category or commodity teams, create strategic plans aligned with the overall procurement strategy. These plans are presented to top management, providing an opportunity for knowledge, sharing, idea communication, and consensus building. The dialogue that takes place during this step is crucial and may even be more important than the strategic plans themselves. Corporate or overall procurement plan. This step involves integrating the individual procurement plans into the overall procurement plan. Key stakeholders review the full context of the organizational plans, ensuring alignment and coherence across procurement activities. Procurement budgets. The budgeting progress in procurement links strategy to resource allocation. It involves both top-down and bottom-up initiatives. Individual procurement units consider the expenditures required for their major projects when preparing their business plans. Top management then aggregates these plans into a company-wide procurement plan, incorporating the necessary budgetary allocations. Operational plans and performance targets. Implementing a procurement strategy requires breaking down the strategic plans into short-term action plans. This step involves developing operational plans with specific tasks, timelines, and performance targets. Performance targets in procurement can be financial metrics or objectives aligned with management by objective principles, which are closely related to the balanced scorecard methodology. In procurement, strategic programming often takes the form of strategic programming, where existing strategies or visions are articulated and further elaborated. In this context, there are key support roles within the programming processes that may be manifested slightly differently depending on the organization. Strategy finders, recognizing and facilitating the impact of unintentional or emerging strategies is crucial. These individuals or teams play a vital role in identifying and leveraging such strategies to their full potential within procurement. Data analysts. Given the abundance of data available in procurement, there is a need for professionals who can convert this data in meaningful information and knowledge, providing valuable insights for decision making. Catalysts. This role involves encouraging strategic thinkers within procurement to challenge conventions, think creatively about the future, ask critical questions, and stimulate innovative thoughts. Catalysts help individuals and teams break free from conceptual ruts and provoke new perspectives, occasionally using unconventional approaches to drive strategic thinking. Now that you learned about some of the strengths and weaknesses of strategic planning, let's take a closer look at emergent or opportunistic strategies from a procurement perspective. Historically, business organizations adopted corporate planning not to formulate procurement strategy, but to facilitate coordination and control in increasingly large and complex procurement operations. While strategic planning adds value to the procurement process, it's important to recognize that strategic analysis alone doesn't provide all the solutions to procurement challenges. The misconception lies in assuming that planning systems with step-by-step instructions for implementations always yield the best strategies. In reality, significant parts of procurement strategy emerge opportunistically. Moreover, relying solely on an elaborate planning assumes a static world, disregarding the constant changes that occur in our reality. The emergence of ideas, insights and initiatives in the procurement strategy making process inevitably introduced complexity and messiness. In addition to following apparent steps, the process now involves informal learning, intuition and creativity. To effectively execute the strategy, employees involved in procurement need to deeply understand and internalize it. This understanding leads to innovative ideas and insights that enable the invention of new procurement categories and problem-solving approaches. One way to address this complexity and embrace the inherent messiness of procurement strategy is to understand the limitations of the individuals conceptualizing and executing it. These limitations can be categorized into three areas: cognitive, physical, and process limitations. Let us start with number one, the cognitive limitations. Everyone's rationality is inherently limited to some degree when making decisions. Research in the field of behavioral economics has extensively explored these cognitive limitations, often referred to as biases. These biases represent mental shortcuts or systematic patterns of deviation from rationality in judgment, leading to perceptual distortions, inaccurate judgments, and interpretations in decision-making. 2. Physical limitations. Time constraints impose limitations on our ability to think and act. We cannot review all relevant information and alternatives to arrive at an optimal solution. The complexity of the procurement landscape makes it impossible to fully comprehend, and the amount of information and data to consider can be overwhelming. 3. Process limitations. Strategic decisions in procurement require coordination and communication among groups of people within complex organizations. Factors such as differences in work hours, time zones, work-life balance choices, and responsibilities, obligations on other projects, and limitations on face-to-face interactions can hinder alignment among individuals working on procurement projects. These limitations make it challenging to establish important drivers and conditions for effective and efficient organizational decision-making, such as creating a common understanding, building support, consensus, and commitment. Understanding these limitations will help procurement professionals make better sense of the messy nature of the strategy-making process, which is embedded in a complex world that can never be fully comprehended or programmed for. Intuition and creativity become essential features in navigating and adapting to the evolving procurement landscape. Let's talk about strategy as an incremental process in procurement. By now, you may be wondering if there's a way to plan a successful procurement strategy. The answer is yes. In reality, many successful procurement strategies combine strategic planning with incremental steps towards developing new approaches. In a rapidly changing procurement landscape, it's essential to adopt an adaptive approach to strategy formulation and implementation, particularly in large organizations. We need a strategy that embraces spontaneity, flexibility, and proactivity in response to internal changes and perceived opportunities. The key to organizing these opportunities lies in a decentralized approach. In procurement, it's important to foster trust in your employees and empower them to be actively involved in addressing specific issues. Employees should have access to the necessary knowledge and information to make informed decisions based on their judgment. This approach promotes learning by doing, continuous process reassessments, creative insights, intuition, and innovative problem solving. We cannot rigidly schedule adaptive strategies any more than we can schedule creativity. Therefore, we must create an organizational context that fosters learning, encourages the development of new ideas, allows for dialogue, and promotes knowledge sharing. Additionally, it's crucial to observe and celebrate successful emergent strategies in procurement. When strategies emerge within individual departments and prove to be effective, top management can adopt and embed them throughout the entire organization. As emergent strategies often take time to develop, they provide opportunities to gain support within the organization. The commitment and energy of individuals play a vital role in giving value to these strategies. To illustrate the concept of an emergent strategy in procurement, let's consider the approach to contacting prospective clients in the sales process. Initially, you may create an elaborate plan, including a list of contacts and a set of open-ended questions to ask. You may follow a predetermined sales model with its 5 steps. However, can this plan include the complexities of reality, such as rejections, ineffective questions, and unforeseen aspects? Most likely not. Instead, you can start with a general idea or direction and begin taking action. Through trial and error, you can learn from the results, retaining elements that yield successful outcomes. This iterative process continues until an effective approach to contacting prospective clients emerges and proves itself. Finally, you can communicate this best practice and success story throughout the organization, ultimately solidifying it as a procurement strategy for a particular process and incorporating it into the organizational knowledge. That's it. You finished another lesson in this course. Congratulations! In this lesson, you learned that strategic planning is a valuable tool, but it is important to recognize its limitation as it cannot account for all the complexities and challenges that arise during the process of implementation. Thus, emergent strategies play an important role in the successful execution of a procurement strategy. Thank you for joining us today and see you in the next lesson.